I was away from the temple for a while.
Yes, sir.
And when I came back to the temple for a little while, then I asked the messenger about teaching again. He says, not the kind of teaching that you used to do. He says, but that's what you did when you was told to go to the temple and ask the people for the money before that I get there, so that everything will be all right. I began to think on now what he said. You go and try your hand in Inkster, Michigan. Out in Inkster, you know, right here at the door, between here and the airport. I had a temple out there.
That's right.
So he told me that. I did it. When I would report to him, he told me to keep on going, keep on going. You all right? Keep on going, keep on doing so. These people that was present when this time was given to me, only one besides myself is living that I know. That was in that meeting. They all is dead, except my wife. She was in that teachers meeting. Now, I went there to Inkster, and I come back and I went and I talked to him, and he didn't come in the city. What if I didn't know it? The messenger did. Many a times he would make his first trip to my house. I think my daughter can witness so much of that. And Minister Hasty both, because he would be around there, you know.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So after he talked to me there at the house, one day he got up from the table. He was eating. He got up from the table. Nobody was left there in the dining room but me and him. And he got up from the table. He said, let's go in the other room and sit down. I said, okay. So he was talking there. He do what he want to do, you know. So he was talking about, we was talking about the Psalms of David. And so when he stood up, he hit the table just like that. He says, brother, the Psalms of David, I am so much that man. He says, I don't know if you understand it or not, said, but every time I go, I got to go beg for something. David was the beggingest man in the Bible, and he was. He said, and I do the same thing. He said, all of David's prayers was answered too, wasn't it, brother?
Yes, sir.
I said, it sure was. He said, mine is answered too. I said, thank you, sir. He said, I'm glad to know it. Now, so much for that. Now, being away, coming back, for a little while, and he gave me the post again. He told me one day, he says, brother, we was riding. He said, brother, so you see that man there? He stopped at the red light. This devil was drunk, crossing in front of him. He said, you see that man? I said, yes, sir. He says, that man that you see there is the real devil of your Bible. He says that is the real devil. So right now he thinks he's better than you. And he's drunk. That's right. So well, he told me some more about it. But anyway, we ain't going to go through that. Now, it works again. Master Farad told me when I was teaching, he said, you take all of the students that cannot read or write, they're yours. Well, the school got so big with people like that, I had to get some more teachers. Then we went to Chicago to visit with Master Farad, and he says to me, how's your class? I said, they're doing fine. He says, you don't have to be there all the time teaching now. You got 13 teachers. I said, yes, sir, but I wants to be there. He said, well, that's the way it is with a teacher. They wants to be there all the time. He says, teach them all you know. He said, teach them everything that you know. Don't leave out nothing. Give them all they can stand. I said, thank you, sir. I will do it. Now, that has a meaning with you. You don't know the people that come, they don't know the teaching of Islam, right?
Right.
We have to teach them slowly to get them to read and write, because you don't know it. Who doing that kind of teaching today to teach them about Master Farad and Messenger Elijah Muhammad? Other than the one that holds him high. Like I was sitting there listening at my son-in-law. I said to myself, I said, he must have got much knowledge from the messenger in meanings, because nobody else speak that way.
Right.
Now, I have known all of the ministers from Abdul Muhammad to Minister Farrakhan. That was his last one, what I'm saying, representatives. I know all of the ministers. I got the record of every minister that was in the city of Detroit that was in the minister's class. I got his name and a record right now. It was 28 of them. And all of them was hypocrites. Now, I say all, but I can say good for one. For one. Now, the thing is, How do you become the last one? It is by going into the restroom and coming out. All of the others had theirs. So I had to take what was left.
Yes, sir.
I had to take what was left. Now what are you doing now, John? I'm taking what's left.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I visit the messenger in the hospital. My son-in-law and my brother John are there. And while they was talking together, I was talking with the messenger, rolling up his sleeves, looking at his arms. They had got so small, and I could see where the devils had, nurses and whatnot, had given him shots and whatnot in his arm. And I was to go to the little island to teach for this brother out there in Bermuda that I mentioned a lot here. I couldn't hear what he was saying. His voice had got so weak. I couldn't hear him, and I bent my ear down to his mouth. And I could barely understand what he was saying. I told him, I says, "Can I go?" He said, "Yes, brother. You don't have to ask me to go somewhere. Go and see this world. It's a beautiful world." You heard that? And I had my ear right down to him. He said, "Yes." I said, "Well, I'll do the best I can in going." Then he says, "You may get them all. I can't go anymore now." And that stung me. That word, when he said he couldn't go anymore, that stung me. He said, "I can't go anymore now." He said, "But you might get them all. Wherever you go, mention me, brother." That's just the way he said it. Did you hear that, Kareem?
Right there, I heard you.
Patient, waiting. So I had to wait a long time, didn't I?
Yes,
Long time. So, in my teachings to you, with him and Master Farad, as I said to you, that when I first went to the temple and heard Master Farad, I was converted. But I didn't stop doing some of the things that I was doing, but I was converted to the belief.
Yes, sir.
So he said to me in the teaching, to my mother, to me, he said it twice, and my mother heard these both times. I shook hands with him one night. I took my mother to the temple. I shook hands with him, and my mother was in front of me. You know, just like you shake hands with me, that's the way we shook hands with Master Farad. And she stood just a step out of the way there so I could shake hands with him. And he looked at me and smiled. He says, "Keep on, brother. Keep on reading. I am the man." Now, what I was reading was the 33rd chapter of Ezekiel. You go home and you read it and you find out what it is. 33rd chapter of Ezekiel. It tells you about a man warning people, and he guides them and whatnot. You know, you read it. After I went to their wells, time is to. So after I went to Bermuda and come back, this man got up. We was in the new building. You was there. He got up and he spoke. Everybody was saying something about what had been did. And he, at the temples, the ministers reporting. So he told the messenger, he says that I was out there. He says, and he said to the messenger, he says, and your brother was there. He said, and we had a real good time. He said he got 2 to join. The messenger clapped his hand like that. He said, all praises due to Allah. He got 2. He said, yes, sir. He says, but look, as though more could have joined. Well, the messenger says, that's enough. Now, come back to America in this part of the country. Well, that's the Americas too, but back to here, I went to Norfolk, Virginia. Minister wanted me there, and he was there at the same time. When it got round to him to speak, he told him, he says, I had, your brother was at the temple, and he relived Norfolk, Virginia. I think I got about 15 or 18 or something like that to join. They was most of the people. It was 10,000 there, but the most of them was just there to hear the music, you know, and the dance, you know, because they had this. I can't call it, but 2 band was there. So anyway, he told him, and the messenger said, "That is good. That is good that he did that for you." Now I come, after that he sent me to, well, yeah, I think he had already sent me to Columbus to take that temple there. I'm telling you words that were said, you know, so you can take them wherever. So when I went there, I would go there. I went there a few times every Sunday. So he told me that was enough for me, too much for me. He says, let your son go.
I was there.
Yes, you was there. So he said, let him go with you until he learns. Well, I had been taking him with me to Mansfield. Mansfield, Ohio. So the messenger says to me, he said, take him till he learns how to go. I said, okay. So I took him. I didn't ever stop. I told him, I said, you're to go with me every Sunday that I go. So the first meeting that I went there, we had 100 and something people there. And I came back. Now he spoke about that place different from what he did in Mansfield, Ohio. This is in Columbus. So he said, I know that it would be all right if I sent the right man there. Although he's not there now. He's not there now. I'm just only giving you hints of what he says. Then he told me, he says, he said, now I want you to say this if you should somebody come in contact with you. I want you to say this is, if they tell you, says, your brother, if you be on the other side of the earth and I be on this side, and they hear me say that God, I have met with God, and he has converted me, and I am his minister. He said, you say he had to meet with God, because if he had not met with God, he'd have still been the same man. So if he changed, I know he met with God. That is, now if I'm on one side of the earth and he on the other side, and this man tells me that he has changed in teaching like he is, then he told me what to say. He did meet with God. And that's what I'm telling you now.
Yes, sir.